Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and we're going to be doing our live tennis lineup build for today. And again, I apologize if I don't give any heads up on when I'm going to be doing these, only because, just because of the time of day, I'm just never guaranteed to be available. We have a better shot with this 11 a.m. start time, though. So as long as this continues, it's possible that I can continue to do these at this 10:30 slot. I'm just busy with other things and usually don't have time for the live build, but just, again, because it's 11 a.m. and I can spend a half hour or at least doing this. Now, again, for those of you that have been following, I mean, we've been running extremely pure. We won the last 3 GPPs that they ran on DraftKings, and the last 2 we actually took down solo. And the last one that we took down solo was incredibly insane because it was only an 11-match slate. We did some pretty aggressive adjustments at the end of the last video to get us the uniqueness that we needed. And then, of course, the DFS gods were in a good mood on that particular day. So we're going to continue doing this. And again, this is the format of this particular stream is that I'm going to upload the projections, and then I'm going to run my normal build of lineups, and then the majority of the time we're going to be spending on figuring out what the hell to do with the sims and what contest sims to use and which contest fields we need to use and what particular settings we need to use. As I've discussed many times, the edge that you're going to get playing tennis DFS normally is not going to be in your projections. Just the difference between good projections and bad projections in the industry is very, very small. It is just one of the easiest sports. Oops. Hold on a second. Hello? Good, I'm in the middle of recording something. Can I call you back? Okay. Sorry about that. We were live. And so the edge you're going to get is not really in out projecting everybody, in my opinion. So the edge you're going to get in DFS is going to be in lineup construction and figuring out how much ownership to fade and how much, what to use your settings to do if you're using the sims. Now, PO Degen Stoner, really, I mean, there are a couple of people that have that do this, the last minute overlay and satellite GPPs. That's obviously an extremely plus EV thing to do in all sports, really. I mean, if you're even remotely decent at DFS and can find overlay, that's I think a really, really good use of time. I don't have that, but I know DFS PhD, who is he's one of the sharper people in the business, so to speak. I mean, he does that a lot. A lot of people that follow him do that a lot, and it's a very, very profitable way to play. That's just not what I do, but not to say that it's not profitable. That's an excellent approach to making money. Yeah. So what we're doing is just dealing with these GPPs that we're playing in. So we're first going to upload the projections. I don't even know if I did it yet. So we're going to upload the projections. And again, the difference between mine and everybody else is really not that much. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build 50. Well, let's put 51 lineups in, so that we're playing 50 lineups in the MME and then 1 in the breakpoint. Obviously, bigger prizes today because it's day 1 of the U.S. Open. And we're going to build 5,000 lineups with the 150 max settings, the default settings on SaberSim, no other changes. And one of the things that I've been kind of known for, I say known for, whatever, people are a little surprised, is how little I change things with respect to SaberSim. How much I respect their defaults, how much I don't make rules, how much I don't inject my own opinions on top of what SaberSim recommends. And I know it's sort of controversial in a way. I'm supposed to be good at this. How can I just rely on the tools Well, I mean, they're better at creating these lineups than I am. You know, they have a lot of they put a lot of work and a lot of money into their algorithms, and I really am a believer in what they do, and all these companies really. I think that people probably do worse imparting their own opinions on top of what some of these more advanced tools will give you. Yes, there are people that make a lot of money making big changes, and there are people that make a lot of money. Oh, you don't need to do that. All right, thanks, folks. That's okay. That's totally unnecessary. We'll donate it to charity of some kind. The Coffee Red Bulls Fund. All right, fair enough. Okay, so yeah. So we're going to first just upload these 5,000 lineups. Again, all this is doing is just giving us our pool of lineups to choose from. And when I say our pool of lineups to choose from, we can mess around with different settings. And one of the great things about SaberSim is that when you make a change in your settings, it will re-rank all the lineups for you based on your settings. In other words, you're not going to have to rebuild everything. That's why you build like this whole pool of 5,000 lineups, so that when you make changes in your top 20 or 30 or 40, however many lineups you're playing, you don't, like if you say, I don't want to play Tomova and X are out, you don't have to then rebuild everything. It will automatically go to the next, it will re-rank everything and still give you the top 50 given the change that you've made in your wants and your demands as far as your lineups go. One thing we can do first is take a look at how many people were in this tournament, and the reason why. Excuse me. The reason why is if we're going to do geo-mean filtering, I want to put this in. So 11,764, and we'll get to that in a minute. 11,764. Let's see. We'll get back to what this is in a minute. 11. Wow, this is big. All right, so 11,764. So if we do want to do geo-mean filtering to make sure there's only one dupe, for example, 20.9 would be the number that we use. But as you see, and before we even get into it, I mean, all the geo-means here are so small because the field, the lineups are. I mean, the field is so big. The amount of matches is so big that you're not going to really need to geo-mean filter to get unique lineups. I mean, as a matter of fact, if you run dupes on a slate this big, I mean, it's almost unlucky. I mean, it's very difficult to make dupes. So you're really just making the best lineups that simulate well against whatever contest field you're using. You're not really worrying too much about dupes, if at all. I mean, it's good to double check, but So this is, and I like to look and see the difference between what we would be getting before we run the sims, what we'd be getting after. So we'd be getting 74% Fritz, 68% Zverev, 43% Nakashima, etc. Okay, and I don't really care too much about this because we are not going to use this. But just so you know what this is, if you use the straight large slate settings, you can go into the eyeball and see what this is. So it's ranking these by the 0.6. It is multiplying 0.6 times the 95th percentile outcome of the lineup, which is pretty aggressive. And it is also it's dinging the ownership a little bit by reducing 0.3 times average ownership. So this is a pretty good field to use, but it's better to do a contest sim, honestly. A question: how many players you need to be to play for player versus player? I don't think I ever have. So I guess the point is that, and I don't really play unless there's at least 12 matches. So I really don't ever. But I'm sure that if it's less than 8 matches or something, I'm sure there's some number. But I've never gotten to there. I mean, I don't really play it when there's less than 12 matches. All right, so let's see. So let's so we have the sims already preloaded here, but it's a question of what field we're going to compare our lineups to. So here are the choices. I mean, there are plenty of choices. There's zillions of ways to do this, but my main choices right now are whether to use the flagship MME, which is SaberSim's default setting, or what I've been doing is just simming this whole set against itself. The idea being that if all the projections are pretty tight, then all the lineups are probably going to be pretty good. Okay, so build one being basically 5,000 pretty good lineups. It's a pretty good place to start. I like to check and see whether the build one ownerships or the flagship MME more represents the actual lineup ownership projections I have. Let's just see. So in the build one, which is basically our 5,000 lineups, if you look at the pool here, I think this looks pretty okay. You know, Fritz at 29%. I mean, it's a little actually higher than I haven't projected, but in fairness, my ownership projections are not that great. I mean, I have to say, I've been comparing my actual ownership projections to actual. I mean, my projections to what actual ownership was, and there's a lot of times where I almost think that ownership projections are somewhat of a random number generator, sort of. I mean, I've been getting a little bit better, but and again, I'm using a lot of what the industry is doing to project this. So blame the industry, I suppose. I'm using the same metrics that they use, but so it's a question of whether I even care whether the pool matches the ownership or not. Okay, I think what's more important is what the character of the field that I'm trying to presume is the field is, you know, and so we'll look at this. I see 29, 23, 21, and I want to compare that to the flagship MMA field. So let's go to flagship MME field, and let's do this. We'll go to contests, and then we'll go to field lineups, and then we'll go to flagship MME, and then we'll hit create custom fields. So then within flagship MME, we get to see what this looks like. Now in this one, it looks a lot different, right? This one is really giving you a big ownership percent on Taylor Fritz. You know, 48% Taylor Fritz, 37 Zverev, 35 of him. So what I have to decide is what is the better field to compare ourselves to. Now, first of all, I would say that we don't know the answer, right? We just don't. We're just projecting it. And it feels as though for the US Open, with so many people playing, it's so many entries, I find it hard that anybody's, especially at 11K, is going to get 48% ownership. That I think this field presumption is probably fishy. That's going to be my my informed decision. Okay. So I'm inclined to go to the build one, like this one, as the better representation of the pool again, of what the pool is going to do, a little more spread out. And the other thing, of course, that this does is if I do it against build one as opposed to flagship MME, I'm actually getting a little different because there are people that do play on SaberSim and use SaberSim, and they will just default to the flagship MME. And so I'm getting a little different off of those constructions by going to build one if I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to do. So there's something to be said for that. So let's use build one as our field of choice. And you could go crazy. I would say crazy. I mean, it's probably worth the work to try to create your own custom field. But I think that, so what's better? Okay. I feel as though I trust the algorithms. One of the flagship MME, you know, the SaberSim, I don't know, the back testing for that field as opposed to making a custom field. And also, when it comes to using build one, what I'm trusting there are my projections, because I'm building 5,000 lineups based on my projections, which I think are pretty tight, which I think the industry is probably going to use as well. The field is going to use as well. So I think that that is a pretty good representation of what the field is going to do. And I have confidence in that more than my ability, I think, to code and make my own custom fields. That's just me. So I have this all set, and now we're just going to hit run contest sim. And then we are going to see what we do here. Now, this is somewhat controversial, but I don't like to see who we have. I don't like to be biased by the players. I mean, if I have faith in my projections and faith in everything else, I would like to also have faith in my process and not worry about what the results are. Okay, so let's start by doing it this way. Let's and we're even hiding our exposures. So in the slam, which is what we're doing here, this is the 50. We're going to sort by risk-adjusted ROI, and the next thing that we're going to do is figure out how diverse to get. Now, again, it's a million match slate, so I think that you do want to expand your min uniques to some amount. So the question is by how much? Because remember, we're listing right now by the top 50 risk-adjusted ROI lineups, and each change that you make is going to affect that. So the question is how much? So this is this aggregate, this average projected points thing. You go into create aggregate metrics, average projected score, and then you'll see the average projection of this entire portfolio here of 343. So when we make changes, we're going to see how much that affects it. So what we're going to do is make as many min uniques as possible, and yet avoid the average projection dropping by that much. And what that much is, we're going to have to figure out. So when you start with min uniques 1, it's 343.27. Min uniques 2 still 343.27. So weirdly, now it's going to 343.0. And here, we're down to 338. Okay, so it dropped 5 full points. So in my making it up metric, 5 points is too much. So we're going to go back to min uniques 3, and we're going to use this one. And we're literally just going to pile these in just like this. We're putting 51, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's going to be the top 50. And we'll put them like this. Then we'll go back to min uniques 1, and then we're going to go to the breakpoint. Again, sort by risk-adjusted ROI. And boom. Put that in, and then we're just going to go into here. And then upload this file. And then this should be good. Now, okay, so I'm done. But does that mean I'm done? Yeah, I mean, it could mean I'm done. But let's see if there's anything that I missed. Okay. So again, I do want to it's not going to be a big deal today because, like I said, I don't worry too much about dupes today. But just in case, the geo mean that we'd be looking for lineups that we think shouldn't be duped is 20.9. So it's a good idea to then go back into your build here and go back to min uniques 3 and then filter by geo mean just to make sure. Now I know that we're going to be all good. Okay. And we go less than 20.9. And again, this really shouldn't be a problem, but just so that we know we did it, we will put this in again and re-enter these. Oh, let's go. Dispensary's opening in 10 minutes. Nice. Nice. Yeah, that could be your, spending, instead of the $2, you could ship some edibles to the office here. That's going to help in the NFL lineup construction videos. Okay, I do want to go to DFS Hero, as I always do, to double check and see what I would get running the sims through theirs. Because again, just because I use SaberSim the most doesn't mean that I'm not open to other I don't want to say opinions, but other calculations. Clay, why didn't I not use ROI? Because I use risk. I don't know. I mean, I've always used risk-adjusted ROI. I know people are starting to use ROI. I don't know. This has been working for me. That's the best I can describe it. I wish I had a better answer. Better be honest than make it up, I guess. I've always used risk-adjusted ROI. It seems to make more sense to me, but I could be wrong. All right, so let's go into tennis here. I happen to be getting better at making this work for me, actually. So let's export the data. No, we have to go again. So lineup optimizer first. No, projection hub first. Damn it, I keep forgetting. Where is the projection hub? Projection hub. Upload. We use that same sheet. And what we're going to do after we lock is we're going to go and check the sports projection site to make sure we have no dupes and make sure we don't have to do any push-ups. I can't imagine having to do any push-ups today, but we'll see. So we have to map this as always, which is a little annoying, but not a big deal. User projection maps to fantasy points. Ownership matches to user own. Import. And then we have to match these names. Hold your rune goes to him. Got to give this a name of some kind. Oh, custom one. Oh, awesome. Oh, they changed that. They said they were going to change that. Excellent. We'll manage. Well, let's go change the aggregate. So instead of doing hero projection 0, we're going to instead of hero projection 100, we're going to go custom projection 100. Apply, and then manage. Make sure we use projection, own, randomness, exposure here, and then we're going to go back into the here, and then we're going to build our lineup. So we're going to build 50 lineups using the what is times what? Oh, how many builds you want to use? Total requested builds in the background and group build when completed. Ooh. I don't know how to do that yet. So we'll just do one. One build, and let's go build 50 lineups. And then what we want to do is you want to do the sim rank thing after we're done with that. We're going to get out of hero mode. We're going to go to custom settings. Contest simulator. Okay, so it's like probably 150 max here. What would we say, 11,000 people, right? Something like that. And everything else will leave the same. And then we'll rank 50 lineups. Now, what's good about this is that it's actually, well, I would say that this, well, we'll take a look at what this field looks like, actually. Actually, it doesn't show what the field is. That's the one, that is a difference. So DFS Hero does run it does compare your lineups to a field, but it's not saying exactly what the field is. It's based on your ownerships, though, which is good. Well, what's interesting here is that there are several lineups that it's recommending that are projected for dupes. So that is sort of interesting. So what we could do is we could sort those out. So this does actually give me a little bit of concern that some of the lineups that we're playing are going to be duped, which also makes me confident that using geomean filtering was appropriate. Right. So what else can we do with this? So if we export these values, for example, let's see what all this looks like. So again, it's only showing 50, right? So it's not really showing what the field is, but I mean, if I were going to put these in, I probably would take out these lineups with 3 dupes projected, for example. Let's try this. You know what? Let's try these multiple builds. You want to try with that? Try that for a second. We have like 2 minutes before we get to reveal the exposures and stuff. Let's go do that. Let's mess around. Let's go back to the where am I? Back to projection hub, right? So where would that be from here? Previous builds. I'm confused. I don't want the contest simulator. Let's go back to lineup optimizer. Okay. Back to projection hub. Oh, right here. So let's say we did multi-builds and a group build will complete. What's the most you can do? 10? I have no idea. Let's try multi-build. See what happens. Just curious what this does. And again, this could be like just beta. I mean, it might not even be done yet. But this would be interesting, actually. If you did multiple builds and then kind of group them together, I guess. Wow, so look at this. So 10 different builds. And this is the group one. So that's sort of interesting, I guess. So is it the average of them all? Or is it some other metric? That would be something, I guess, that we would have to investigate somewhat. So we could check all these out. But this is like the group. So what does it say? It says, it doesn't say anything. And just for the hell of it, let's sim and rank these. See what that looks like. So this is I guess kind of interesting. Again, 150 lineups. Contest size 11,000, which this is. And let's rank these. So I am going to start messing around with this actually. Like next time I use a DFS Hero to run something like this, I am going to check this out. And then we get the big reveal. Number one, who we have, because again I don't care yet. And then also we're going to take a look at the ownership, see how we did. Let's see how, I don't know. I got to reach out to DFS Hero people and see what this is actually doing. Like when you're making 10 builds and then grouping them. You know, I don't know exactly what that means. Well, what's annoying about this is look at all these dupes we're getting. Now, is that because we're building it 10 different times that we're getting all these dupes? So here are questions for the DFS Hero people. If you're watching this, sometimes they do. If you can reach out to me and let me know what, any comments on what I just said over the last 10 minutes, that would be great. Okay, so let's get into it. And first, let's take a look and see now that we're locked, who we actually have. All right, in contests, players. What's our ownership? All right, so we do have 64% Zverev, 58% Taylor Fritz. We are getting these guys pretty high. Then 31% Kekmanovic, 31% Eubanks. But again, it's more important like how these are combined and everything like that. And I had a feeling I was going to get a bunch of the Opeka with his ace and upside. So let's see who do we have in the break point. Well, we can always check our lineups for that. But let's go into the sports projection site and take a look at the unique report, because I'm going to owe push-ups for every lineup that I have duped. Let's see. we'll save this. Well, first, we're going to save this file. Well, hold on. Before we do that, I actually want to, well, we didn't do that yet. So first we actually have to access the contest file. Sorry about that. A little slow here. So let's go here, and then we'll download this file. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to compare actual ownerships to ours and see how bad we were. And again, we're usually pretty bad. I don't know how else to say it. I'm going to continue to improve, but hopefully. But the ownership projections that I've been creating, I'm just not particularly happy with. Ooh, I like this though. Remember, I thought it would be more spread out. Okay, very good sheets. So okay, we already are a success because the field, the contest field we chose was better than the flagship MME field that we could have gone to. That's excellent. That's good results right there. Let's compare our ownership now to our ownership projections. Wow, that's I'm very, very happy about that. People, talk about what good results are. That's already a very, very good result. So let's now go to this ownership tracking macro that we created. And pick tennis. And what this is doing now is comparing our ownership projections with the actual ownership from the flagship and see how bad we were. So, I mean, pretty bad, but not as bad as it could have been, right? We missed big misses on the top guys, like Svera, Fritz, all these guys were pretty poor. But forget that. What's much more important is the field that we used as our contest sim, and we were excellent as far as that goes. Okay, so already a huge success. All right, so let's go into here and let's put the correct line up, the correct thing in here, and that's the contest fields. And let's see what we got. So user exposures, actually use unique percentage. Let's go and behaves. And oh no, we're gonna O. So we have only 42 uniques out of 50. We're gonna O the 8 push-ups. How did everybody else do? Yeah, I guess everybody else. Look at all these people, all these geniuses with 150 lineups. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford 150 lineups. But we're only going for 50. That's the most I ever do. I mean, I'll sometimes usually go 40, but 50 is the most I'll do. Okay, so let's. I'm going to owe these push-ups. So let's put this back up just to make sure of this. Yep. So we're gonna do the 8 push-ups, and then we're gonna come back and see how badly some of these are duped. So hold on. Oh, my shoulder still hurts from the last time I did this. But anyway, 8 uniques. Ready? Or 8 dupes. 1, 2, 6, 8. Okay. So 8 push-ups. Wow, how did I get 8 dupes or 8 lineups with dupes? Let's take a look at those. User entry investigation. Did I get any bad ones? Let's see. Yeah, a couple of these. Well, these have 3, like 2 dupes. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. Any other questions? I don't see. No, I do not do I'm not going to be doing the late slate. But that's it, guys. Hope you guys learned something.